Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. Well, in this one, this high-end AMD PC build that I have right over my right hand shoulder here, I'm going to do a graphics and aesthetics upgrade to it. First off, you may have seen in a recent video where I did an overnight stay at Micro Center, I'm going to put in that 3080, the Gigabyte Vision version that I was able to score on that trip. I'm going to start with a box opening of that, of course, just to be complete. But in addition to that, I am going to put some white extension cables on as well. I got these COOCAT PSU sleeved cables, and we're going to see how they turn out when I put them onto the PC and cover up those ugly looking black cables that I was forced to do when I upgraded to PSU, as you may recall. So hopefully you get something out of this video, and if you do, you at least consider subscribing to my channel. That way you'll be able to see builds, whole builds, and upgrades like this in the future. So let's get started. Okay, let's open this guy up and see what it looks like. First time I'm opening it up, actually. Well, there we go. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it says Gigabyte. So of a glossy little tape label they put on there. Let's open this guy up. Okay, we got a Gigabyte quick reference card. Get this guy out of here. It's really in there tight. Anything underneath here? Nope, empty. Okay. Just as they said, it's got like a brushed aluminum front to it. It's got a white frame all the way around the edges, bottom, and the side here. Looks like it has screws here for a possible bracket to support it in terms of preventing sagging. I'll have to look into what I can do for that. Maybe there's something I can retrofit for that as well. We'll see. Okay, I did hear about this. I don't know if you see it on the camera or not, but this purple, this violet background to the Gigabyte. And this is the Gigabyte symbol or icon that will light up, from what I understand, with RGB. Although somebody said it was just white, so we'll find out. It has on it two 8-pin power connectors, and it does look like they're separated wider than usual. It has this little cutout here. I think that's in the case of the older models that allowed for you to connect up two cards together. Pretty hefty card. It has quite a heavy heatsink to it. So I think that's pretty good. Let's see what we got here in this end. Looks like we have 3 DisplayPort connectors. And what is this? HDMI. So 2 HDMI and 3 DisplayPort. But I understand you can really only use 4 of these adapters at one time. At least that's what I read online. I'm not sure if I'll be able to test that or not. It's got really nice fans, unique style. Looks similar to EVGA, but they don't say EVGA on them. It's supposed to be very high capability in terms of fans. No logo, that's nice. Oh, there is. It says Vision, but you can barely see it. I guess I would have to take off. Let's see, is there, looks like there might be a peel on this. I can't see it right now. I'll double check that later. But I think there might be, because I see a little piece of something here. But again, all 3 of them say Vision in the front of it. Over here, what does that say? It says broaden your horizon. I'm not sure if that'll light up or not. We'll have to find that out. Not sure if there's a peel there or not. If it is, I'll have to use a very sharp blade to figure it out. And then on the back side, it has a really solid back plate. Again, aluminum. It's not really brushed that much, but it has a nice pattern put over here. And what does this say? It says here screen cooling, right in here, screen cooling. Nice and solid. It's actually bent around the front here even. There's a nice solid back plate that will not easily bend. Oh, it's got that special air system that a lot of the partner cards have done. So they can actually blow air out of here, out of the top side of the cooler as well. I think that's all there is to it. And that'll get put into the PC. Let me open up these cable extensions. They were at a good price on Amazon. I'll put the link down below. Oh, they come with combs too. I didn't see that listed as part of the package. So with that, let me go next and put it into the PC and see what happens. Well, I hate to do it, but I have to go now and tear apart most of my cable management here on the back of my new high-end PC. Because this panel here, this metal panel, the one that's over here in the front, that's going to have to come out in order to support the size of the new card. There we go, it's all out now. I'll deal with the bracket later. I'm going to have to use another one that I have, a second one, for the other GPU, which I think will work fine. Okay, now I got to disconnect all of these power supply cables here. Put the extensions on them once I get the new card in. Power supply, 12 volts. And so now I have them all disconnected. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to get the extensions on there without too much trouble. Okay, what I've done is I've put all the extensions in to start. So I got that out of the way. The hardest part was up in this corner here. There was an 8-pin one for the 12 volt CPU power, but there wasn't a 4. So I had to leave the black 4 there, and it's mostly blocked. But I put the combs on, I put the 2 on here, and obviously I'm gonna be changing the card, and I put the one for the 24 pin. So they're all in place, and it should make it a little bit easier now when I put the new card in to reorganize these cables. Okay, now I have the wires pushed through in the back here. I tucked them up underneath these, so I hope it's not a problem. I really can't hide them any other way. Maybe bend them down the side here. We'll see how it goes. If I can't get the side on, I may do that, but what I want to do now is just hook these other ones up to these. That's how the extensions work. They just go into the end of the regular power supply cables. And then here, since over here I actually have to use already one of the black ones, and I have the white one. So it's really the second white one here. This one would go up to this power here for the CPU 12 volts, like that. And these guys would go to the end of this. And then I'll have to wire manage all of this. I'll reconnect up the RGB and get it all together. And then we'll put the new GPU in. Let's have it sitting over here right now in the bag. We'll put that in next. Okay, now to replace the actual GPU here with the new one. I have it sitting right here, and it's going to go in to replace at EVGA. These are just sitting here to make sure they fit. Disconnect those, and then I'll take these thumbs off. And I'll reach in here, disconnect the latch on the slot socket, pull it out. So there is my EVGA 2080, which is going into my primary build. The color scheme will match much better there. So now this one here, let me pull off the PCIe LAN connector. And then I will get this guy in position. Now, I'm going to try something out later here, but for now, I'm going to put a temporary solution in. Actually, these are not meant to be temporary, but I'm going to consider it temporary. This will be the holder to keep it from sagging. Got to make sure I don't interfere with the fan or anything like that as I put this in here. I'll put it right between the two fans right now, just to hold it in place. But I will be putting a bracket in here. I have the spare bracket that I had left over when I did the EVGA to the case. I can't reuse that one here because I bent it, but this is a brand new one that I can use. Let me make sure it'll fit. So if I put this in here, we have those 2 holes that are along the top of the bracket here that I showed you when I was showing you the details of the card. Let me see if this will line up with this. And it does. So what I'll do is I'll drill 2 holes in that back plate. I won't do it this time. I'll have to do it when I decide to clean up a little bit here. And then I'll put the 2 screws that I had that connected this up onto the side of this, and this will be the real final solution to the GPU support. But for now, I'll put this in here as I test it. Let me put these screws back in here. And then we'll put the 2 power connectors. And as I noted when I opened the box, these are offset from each other. They're much further apart. Okay, it's all back together. Let's see if it comes on. I still have some cable management to do here in the front, but other than that, it should be good. I see all the RGB. That's amazing. There we go. We got tough right there. That's a good sign. Okay, let's see what happens here. I see the Gigabyte lit up. There it is. It came up. Took a while. I guess I had to think about it here, but it came up. Let me see if I can log in. So we got video. How come I only see one monitor though? Did the other monitor get turned off? Oop, I had it on the wrong port. There we go. So now both monitors are up. There we go. Okay, so we're good. Now I'll have to do some testing and see how it turns out. Okay, so I now have it running heaven. Let's see what the stats look like on this when I look at the summaries at the end. Now I'll show you the test results when I'm comparing the EVGA 3080 to the Gigabyte 3080. In this first one, I showed the Heaven results. As you can see, this was a pretty significant jump. Now this is Cinebench. Didn't change too much, but there was a slight change in favor of the Gigabyte. Now the 3D Mark results. As you can see, a very slight change, but again with the Gigabyte. This chart shows an expected result where the Gigabyte actually was drawing more power from the utility line than the EVGA 3080. And in this chart, we're actually showing what the highest temperatures were generated. This was a little surprising because I thought that the temperatures would be a little bit higher with the Gigabyte, but it was the reverse. And then finally, we have the actual video rendering performance. And as expected, the Gigabyte card slightly outperformed that of the EVGA. Well, that concludes this quick little upgrade of my high-end AMD PC. The main change being just putting in the new Gigabyte Vision 3080, replacing my EVGA 3080 XC3. Now this one does have a little bit of an overclock to it out of the box, which is why in the testing results I just showed, we got anywhere between a 2 and 8% improvement, depending on which test I was running. Heaven was by far the biggest jump. Anyway, how does it look? Let me zoom in a little bit. It now has the nice little cables to it, the white cables with the combs on them. That's a nice plus. And overall, by the way, those results that I just talked about, they did it with cooler temperatures, which sort of makes sense. The cooler on this Gigabyte card is much more massive than the EVGA card. So that sort of makes sense that it actually ran cooler. Now I also ran a comparison test between Crystal Benchmark just to see how it would go, but the difference was negligible. It ran a little bit cooler as expected, but it's the overall coolness of the system itself because the less heat is being generated by the actual GPU. So hopefully you got something out of this video, and if you did, you would consider at least subscribing to my channel. That way you can see future upgrades and full builds on systems like this going forward. So until the next time, take care, be safe, and please stay healthy.